Given all these ratcheting up of tensions with China, it seems like when it comes to NAFTA, or at least the new NAFTA, that deadline on Friday potentially could be reached?
That's what we're hearing from President Trump in his interview this afternoon. He said that he thinks that they are close to a deal with Canada to be able to announce that would be paired with the deal that was announced with Mexico on Monday. And he said that he expects a deal with Canada either on Friday or at some later time, but that he really sees this as Canada's only option is to remain with the U.S. in some kind of free trade relationship. And then we're hearing from other people who are close to the talks that there's some expectation that an announcement could come tomorrow, but some other people are still cautioning that that progress has been made, but that they're not that it's not necessarily quite there yet in terms of a tomorrow announcement. But tomorrow is the deadline for U.S. Representative Lighthizer to send a letter to Congress informing them of the Trump administration's intention to enter into an agreement with Mexico, definitely. And we're looking to see whether Canada will be included in that letter and that notification as well.
Eric, one of Canada's biggest sticking points now is dispute panels. Tell us about that and what kind of compromise we might see here.
Sure. Well, Canada has always favored a trilateral, or I guess you could say a bilateral dispute settlement mechanism that allows for panels to mediate some of the dumping disputes between Canada and the U.S. And some of the kind of discounting and subsidy type disputes between Canada and the U.S., rather than leaving those determinations solely to U.S. courts. This was a point that was very important to Canada in the original free trade agreement that they had with the U.S. in the late 1980s and became part of NAFTA in the 1990s. And so this is a priority for Canada. The U.S. has a priority of wanting greater access to the Canadian dairy market and being against these panels because they see them as contravening a bit the sovereignty of American courts to make determinations about the American economy and American businesses. And so some analysts have said to us that they see perhaps a deal lining up there, or a trade-off between the two countries, that perhaps the U.S. could give some on Chapter 19 dispute settlement if Canada is willing to give on the access to its dairy market, which is via a supply management system that is fairly closed and is important to parts of the country like Quebec and the dairy farmers in that part of the country. So a very hot political item from the Canadian point of view.